account for the success of the French Revolution of 1789. So we need to know the key reasons that engineered the success of the French Revolution of 1789. Where we are like saying that the French Revolution of 1789 was a fundamental social, political, and economic change which occurred in France in the year 1789. It was a revolt of the peasants, middle class, and some discontented nobles and clergy against the despotic Bourbon monarchy, which was ruled by King Louis XVI. The revolutionaries intended to achieve reforms in France, and by 1799, the revolutionaries had not only achieved the reforms, but also led to the overthrow of the monarchy. So we need to know the key reasons that engineered the success of the French Revolution of 1789. We are saying the strong and competent leadership of the revolutionaries, for example, Count Mirabeau and General Lafayette. These ones were great mobilizers in politics. They convinced the peasants that this was the right time to rise up against the monarchy of King Louis XVI. People had to understand the bad side of King Louis XVI because of the works of Mirabeau and Lafayette. So this engineered the success. Another one, the destruction of the Bastille by the revolutionaries in July 1789. Bastille, this was a fortress prison where innocent people had been imprisoned and they were suffering. But what the revolutionaries did, they attacked the Bastille prison. They killed the general who was looking after the prison. His head was removed. It was paraded on the streets of Paris. By this time, all of the prisoners were released. So it is this that engineered the success of the revolution by 1789. Another one, the abolition of feudalism in August 1789, and the distribution of land to the peasants and the middle class. Feudalism, this was a situation where a small clique of people owned the land and other people were just squatters. What happened at this time? When the revolution progressed, feudalism had to come to an end, where even the peasants, middle class, had to be given what? Land. So it is this that engineered the success of the French Revolution, because those that did not have land also had to get land. Then the establishment of the revolutionary governments, for example, the National Assembly in 1789, the Legislative Assembly in 1791, and the National Convention 1792. We believe by this time, when the revolutionary governments were formed in France, it meant that King Louis XVI was coming to an end. Because we are seeing the rise of new governments in a country called what? France. This meant changes rising up in a country called France. Then the weakness in the character of King Louis XVI. I can say the weakness in the character of King Louis XVI engineered the success of the French Revolution of 1789. I can say King Louis XVI was very weak in his character. He was easily influenced by the wife that was Marie Antoinette. You remember, whatever Marie Antoinette wanted could just tell King Louis XVI. It is this that made the masses, majority peasants, to rise up against the king. And this engineered the success of the French Revolution of 1789. Then, the establishment of extreme revolutionary groups and parties such as the Jacobins Club. We are like saying political parties that were agitating for change were formed, like the Jacobins what? Club. As these political parties were formed like Jacobins Club, all of these wanted political power. Because every political party is formed to get political what? Power. As these political clubs were formed, they started campaigning Louis the what? The 16th. And this engineered the success of the French Revolution of 1789. Then the role of the Paris mob. Let me tell you, Paris mob, this was a group of heartless youth. I don't know where they took their hearts. They were determined to kill anybody who was against the new government. So it is this that engineered the success of the revolution. Because people stopped supporting the king for fear to be killed by the Paris mob. I can tell you, these ones, their hobby was killing. They could feel happy after killing someone. Another one, the strong determination of the revolutionaries to achieve reforms. We are like saying the revolutionaries, especially the peasants, were determined to achieve what? Reforms. Since they were determined to achieve reforms, it is this that engineered the success of the French Revolution, because it was this determination that made even the cowards become strong, because they knew that at one time they were going to succeed. Then the execution of King Louis XVI on 21st January 1793. Let me tell you, King Louis XVI was executed. He was 39 years, and Marie was 38 years. People rose up and they executed King Louis the 16th. Of course, using a guillotine. His head was put in the machine, and the head was what? Was cut off. This meant the success of the French Revolution, because the main symbol of the revolution, who was King Louis XVI, his head was what? Was removed. Then the support to the revolutionaries from the French army. We are like saying today, the French army supported the what? The revolutionaries. At a time when the French army was supposed to side on the side of the peace, on the side of the king, it is sided on the side of the what? The peasants. It is this that engineered the success of the revolutionaries in the French Revolution of 1789. Then the role of the National Guard. Let me tell you, the National Guard, this was the revolutionary army formed by the revolutionaries. It was engineered towards success. In other words, the National Guard did everything under the sun to see that the revolution does what? Succeeds. In other words, the National Guard tried to kill and imprison everybody who was rising up against the revolution. And this engineered the success of the French Revolution. Then the support to the peasant and middle class revolution from the discontented upper classes, nobles and the clergy. Among the nobles and clergy, some people are not happy. They were discontented. They were not what? Happy. So they sided on the side of the peasants, and this enlarged the revolution, because even those whom people looked at to be celebrating life supported the what? The revolutionaries. And this engineered the success, because at this time the peasants had a reason to join the struggle, since even some nobles and clergy had joined the what? The struggle. Then the flight of the royalists, clergy, and the nobles. At a time when the revolution was succeeding, the nobles and the clergy had to escape from where? From France, and they had to go to Austria. In this kind of arrangement, it meant the success of the revolution. Since the main pillars of the king escaped, it meant that the revolution was what? succeeding.